Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at this very special time today. We are excited to be back again with Riana Arendse, who works with the Seraphim, high level of angels. She is a master healer and a spiritual teacher and a member of the Angelic Council, as well as the Seraphim Collective. We are talking about accelerating our journey to inner union. Let's welcome Riana back to this beautiful platform. Hi, Riana. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Lauren. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for allowing me back. I'm so excited to commune with everyone, with your community, with you. It's absolutely always a joy. So thank you so much for having me.
We love the information that you bring through, the wisdom, the vibration that you bring through. And so let's catch up here because it's been a while since we've connected with you. And I just want to say, how has the energy
Yeah, it's been a couple of months. Yeah.
Yeah. How have you been dealing with the energies? What is your take on what the collective is going through and what the energies of our planet are? Here we are halfway through 2022.
Yes, a lot of change, a lot of change, not just speaking about for myself, but, in terms of feedback I get from my clients and from other spiritual teachers and healers and colleagues of mine. Many people are going through very, very, very intense times now. And I'm speaking in terms of really having to face those shadows and those uncomfortable emotions, and specifically the heart, specifically dealing with the heart. I believe, or I was told by my guides recently, I think the last month or two, a lot of the shifts and changes were happening on within the higher heart, and so a lot of releasing of collective agreements, collective beliefs, a lot of shedding of walls around the heart space. And so it's been quite an intense time, but I feel we're moving into a different part of this phase of this journey, or this period of time, as we move towards the end of the year. It's going to feel more like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for most of us. So at the moment, we might feel like we are coming out or just about closing certain cycles in our lives. And then we'll start to see a little bit of the light, but that light is almost feeling I get is hope. And as you move forward towards that light, a lot of integration will be happening, a lot of physical embodiment of that beautiful creation codes that your higher selves wants to bring in. So there is a lot happening, but it's all in terms of accelerating your journey, accelerating one's path. I was actually shown recently, actually, I think I was in deep meditation, and I was communicating with my guides, and I sort of had a brief moment where I became part of existence. I shed any layers of the ego, of the self, and I completely just submerged myself in that light. And what I could see from that perspective was that, we came into this reality, and there was a certain bandwidth imposed upon us. So if you were to think of a ruler, and maybe the ruler goes from 0 to 10, and so this bandwidth that has been imposed upon us only allowed us to see a perspective or a limited view of between 0 and 3, referring to the third density, of course. And we weren't able to, or it was difficult for us to really see things from a grander or higher perspective. And so as we go through this accelerated periods of releasing and healing and shifting, our consciousness really moves past that 0 and 3 bandwidth. We move past that bandwidth, and we are able to break through those limitations, especially in terms of perspective, and in terms of the way that we see life, the way that we see experiences, the way that we experience situations. And this allows us to liberate ourselves. And so all of the things that we've been going through up until now is not in vain. It is absolutely not in vain. Every part of it serves us. And I believe and I see the reaping of so many, many rewards and blessings and abundance and freedom and peace and bliss that wants to come in. And it's not that it needs to still be manifested. It is already created. What we are doing is we are processing our way to that vibrational point, to that new earth, the way where we can then experience that manifestation that is already in existence for us.
Yes, New Earth is a vibration, and so we are all up leveling, upgrading our vibration. Wow, you've said a lot there. So there's an intense time going on for folks, and I was mentioning that it felt recently as we passed through the June solstice and the 6/6 gateway. So June 6th, 6/6 through the June 24th, it really felt like a Mercury retrograde, like where we had to adapt. So we're going about our
Yes,
world,
yes.
our daily life, and all of a sudden there's obstacles, whether it's a power outage or computers not working right. That's why I describe it as a Mercury retrograde, but there was no Mercury
Yes.
retrograde. And this is what you're
Yeah.
referring to. We have to face the uncomfortable emotions, face our shadows, heart, being in the heart, shedding layers of the ego. That's what you were doing when you went into your meditation. Do you feel that this is really
Yes.
part of a pressure cooker where we are being pressure cooked to surrender to love, to take down the heart wall, to open the heart, or to get into our heart? And as I ask you that question, in your reply, can you also share how one gets into the heart? Because I can hear that question coming from a couple of people.
Mm. That's a very good question. Absolutely. I do believe very, very strongly that it is the entire process of healing the heart, of surrendering, of self-mastery, of healing. The entire process is merely to cultivate a new way of being. But this new way of being is not something external or outside of you. It is you. It is more of you. Because this fractal, this perspective that you hold now in this lifetime is merely just a fraction of who you truly are, because you as a being, you are existence itself. There is no way that you cannot exist. It is impossible. You will always exist. You are existence itself. And so we come back to really opening up to all that we are and merging and becoming existence, realizing and seeing ourselves from that perspective, realizing that everyone that we encounter, whether it is our spouse, our neighbor, whether it is you or me, the dog, every person we encounter is just another projection of who we are. And when we move into that surrender and open up the heart space and really get to feel the magnitude of who we are at the highest level, we then can only see ourselves in everyone and everything. And the message came through so strongly prior to the call for all of us here today. And the message is that um, that thing, that situation, that experience, that relationship, that thing that is sort of keeping you stuck or making you uncomfortable or keeps you in resistance or keeps you in pain and suffering, that very thing that one tries to avoid or tries to escape is the very thing that's trying to liberate you. So when we allow ourselves to surrender to that thing, allow ourselves to immerse ourselves in that experience, to observe it, to become aware of it, to take it as a part of ourselves, we can truly then transcend it and see it as the one side of the coin that makes the coin whole. Because whether it is shadow, whether it is light, dark, white, whatever it is, both polarities, both sides, it's all part of just completing the bigger picture. And we will no longer then look at things from, from a limited perspective. You speak about, you asked me about how do we get into the heart space. That is a very good question. And a lot of it's not as easy as one would think, but what I usually do, there's so many different tools and different ways we can get into the heart space. I remember a lot, and I remember having many, many experiences where I was in deep fear, especially during my initiations. And I went through one of the biggest initiations of my life. I remember being submerged in this dark hole. And I knew suffering very much. Suffering was my friend, pain was my friend. But up until that point, I was never that petrified in my life, and I was submerged in absolute darkness. I couldn't see a way out. I didn't think I was going to survive. And there was a part of me that didn't want to survive because I can't even explain it. It was traumatizing for me in certain moments. And I remember asking myself, Riana, so what is this whole thing what is this thing supposed to teach you? What are you supposed to get out of this? Because you've done so much healing already. Why is the situation being imposed upon you by your higher self or by your God self? And I realized in that moment that it was for me to truly wake up to my self mastery. It was for me to acknowledge that all of it is part of the whole. It was for me to acknowledge just how strong I truly am. It was for me to be able to hold the resonance with my heart through anything and everything. And that it was like a training ground that I had to undergo, a training ground of self mastery that I needed to undergo. And every part of me was tested past my threshold, past my limit. And in those moments of darkness, of absolute dread, of death, of living on the precipice, being on the precipice of death, countless times, the one thing that brought me back into my heart was either just a memory of what peace felt like for me in my life, and that was my relationship with my son. I would just imagine his face in that moment, and in that very moment, my heart would open. It is specific to each of you because each of you have different memories and experiences, but one could easily just visualize that the doors of the heart are opening when you are completely allowing your body to soften, getting out of the mind, those perpetuating thoughts, just dropping down into the body, allowing the body to settle and soften and get comfortable and just feel like you are sinking deep within. No matter what is going on around you, allow that body to just soften, 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 and then open the doors of the heart. And that intention alone is what allows the heart to then open and what allows you to feel more into the space, into that sacred temple of your individual heart. I hope that makes sense, Lauren.
It does. That was an activation, you sharing that with us right now in this moment. And I know that folks who are listening are in the heart. If there's any questions that people might have about that, please, you can ask that. You can do it in our chat on Zoom, or you can raise your hand and you can ask. It really is very interesting. It's a relaxation, it's a
Yes.
softening. It's not in the
Mm,
head, right? It's not in the head.
absolutely.
And just
Absolutely.
the memory that you have of being at peace, and you got that from your beautiful son, where
Yeah.
you can reach for that. And we can do it with puppies, watching children play, blowing bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
this is advice from our beautiful Judy Callie as well. So the thing about this is when we hold the resonance in our heart and we look at a situation, I'm going to give an example here because I've noticed recently the difference between being in the head and being in the heart. And you asked me before we started, you said that I've popped into your thoughts recently and you asked me if I was okay. And it's very
Yes.
interesting because I've been in a situation where I can look at something from my heart and my heart is like, you're doing nothing wrong, all is well. Right? Because I'm in my heart and it's like,
Mm.
wow, that feels so good. And my higher self is saying, all is well, all is well. Yet
Mhm.
my ego mind will absolutely shred the situation and stomp muddy boots and throw a temper tantrum. And I have to really stay in the vibration because you were right. These are all experiences that make us look deeper at who we are, regardless of
Mhm.
societal norms or collective values. I think this is where, as we each move towards sovereignty through the heart, our own integrity comes into play. Of we know what's right, and so by following the heart, by being in the heart, holding the vibration in the heart, staying in tune to it, wow, we could find that the heart and the mind could challenge each other. So, what would you do if you find that you're in that position with your ego or your mind? How do you hold the heart resonance when that sort of dynamic's going on?
That's a very good question. And that comes back to self mastery. Because remember, being in the heart space or being the embodiment of your higher self or always being in alignment is not something that usually happens in a moment and it's permanent. It is something that must constantly be cultivated. Um, it is the progression of allowing ourselves to remember who we truly are and slowly allowing that to become a habit, because we've obviously through socialization and beliefs and all of those things that have been imposed upon us, it took many years and many words and many experiences for us to get to a point of limitation and house all of those things. And so to get ourselves from that point of view and get ourselves back into alignment, back into a higher state of consciousness, back into remembering that we are existence itself, that we are that vast ocean of love. It is a process, and it's constant self-awareness, constant reminders of coming back into the heart. The moment you feel the mind sort of wanting to come in and really just come through with these negative thoughts and beliefs and stuff, because that does happen, that will happen, because the mind has been so used to taking over control of everything. And so
Mm.
now we're sort of training the mind to take a step back, and as we more and more create what do you call it, a routine or a practice for ourselves to get into the heart space more often, especially when we are triggered, especially when those emotions intensifies, those negative emotions comes up, especially when we're feeling uncomfortable or when we're feeling challenged. Those are the moments that are most critical, because that allows us to see exactly what the thought or belief is that is still keeping us out of that space, or keeping us in resistance, or keeping us in a state of limitation, or whatever that belief or thought is, because it usually stems from a belief, a lot of the emotions and things we experience. And so then we come back to what that belief is, and we start to deconstruct it. Is it true? No, it's not true. It's just an opinion. It's just someone else's opinion. It's just my opinion based on past experiences. And we start to deconstruct those beliefs and stuff that's coming up for us, and then we move back into the heart space, because we've gained a greater expanded point of view and perception about that experience. So it's constantly coming back until eventually it becomes a natural way of being and doing as we move forward.
And that is what keeps us all going. And I do see a world where folks are in their heart, anchoring in the heart. Thank you for your comments here, because everyone listening is a new earth leader and will help others stay in the heart and be in the heart, exist in the heart. So thank you for sharing that. I love this idea to develop a practice, a routine, a system, a method to stay in the heart, to be in the heart, and to be so aware that we can
Mm-hmm.
notice when we're not in the heart. That is the evolution of this. So at first, one of the
Absolutely.
yeah, with the initial questions like how do I mean, I remember years ago when I was told stay in your heart, go in your heart, check with your heart. What does your heart say? And I had no idea how to do that. I was like, well,
Yeah.
mind wants to go here and interview this person. What do you mean I have to ask my heart? How am I supposed to do that? But now I know, and
Yeah.
it is a feeling. It is a feeling. It is a feeling, and we can share words of advice for it, but we can't, like, we can lead a horse to water, but we can't force it to drink, and we can't explain exactly
Mm.
how someone is going to feel their own heart space. This is that inner
Yes,
journey, the
absolutely.
the inner union.
Mm.
And so, since we're talking about the heart, that really is on point with our topic today. Accelerate your journey to inner union, and this is
It's so on point. It's so
yeah.
on point. Absolutely.
So it's so as you mentioned, it's the triggers. Those we should actually welcome the triggers. We should welcome the discomfort, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yes, yes, because that very thing that you're trying to avoid, or that very, even the resistance itself, even the feeling of resistance, even the feeling of stuckness, all of those uncomfortable, challenging emotions and situations, those are the very things that is wanting to liberate you. It is there for a purpose, even though we cannot see it at the time, but it is truly wanting to liberate you if you just try and move through and past the fear. And once you are there, you'll realize it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I'm actually stronger than I thought, initially. It really is about just facing yourself, all parts of yourself, because the journey is about coming back home into union with yourself, not with John or Jack or whoever else. Obviously they are wonderful bonuses, but everything in the external is not going to give you that ultimate feeling of completion, of wholeness. The only thing that will ever satisfy any being is to come back into union with self. That is what we are searching for, ourselves, because we remember at a subconscious level that we are greater, we are grander, are magnificent, we are vast, we are everything. And because we remember that in the back of our minds, there's a part of us always searching and seeking, searching and seeking. And we realize then at a later time that what we are seeking and searching for is ourselves, to come home to ourselves. And obviously, the journey to the self, to coming into union with self, is obviously a process of healing, of facing our shadows, of self mastery. And I, I want to come to a point that I wanted to speak about, and this is about core wounds. And so people usually ask me, what are core wounds? And I always say that core wounds are those wounds or traumas that would usually perpetuate itself throughout your most of your life. So it's that thing that constantly replays itself over and over and over. If it's a relationship, or it's a certain emotion that gets triggered by a colleague, or it is just maybe a lack of abundance or money, anything. It can be anything, but it's a thing that constantly, that does not want to heal or go away. That is the core wound. And for most of us, we have about 2 or 3 core wounds, um,
Mm-hmm.
at minimum. Yeah, about 2 or 3. On average, about 2 to 3, yeah, per core wounds per person. And so it takes us um, quite a while to really heal that core wound, because if you were to take that block and that thing and go to a healer and say, listen here, this is the only problem I have, please just heal it for me, fix it for me, please. The reason why you find yourselves coming back to that same wound and that same trauma over and over and over is because if that could be healed by another person, it would defeat the purpose of your evolution. You are not here to have someone else perhaps just fix your entire life for you and make everything perfect. You are actually here to realize your own power, the healer within yourself, the master that you already are. To realize yourself as God embodied in form. And that process entails, yes, healing, blockages, traumas, shadows, densities, but it also entails self-mastery, because you can heal as much as you want, but there comes a point in time where you need to begin changing the way that we think, begin shifting the old ways that we do things, those habitual patterns of thoughts, of behaviors. Those things need to change, and those things can only be changed consciously through self-mastery. So it is a journey, but it can be accelerated. It can be accelerated to come into union with self. In fact, the entire shift within the planet at the moment, with the energies, with moon cycles and the planetary systems, all of those is actually assisting us in accelerating our journey if we allow ourselves to see the gift inherent in those triggers, in those intense energies that are coming up for us.
That's very brave and very bold, allowing ourselves to see the triggers and the resistance that's coming up within us. Okay, we have some questions. You're going to do a transmission, an activation. So I'm going to read these questions because I think that they will be assisted in this transmission. So beautiful what you bring forward. So I'm going to read these questions and we can answer them first and then they could be part of the transmission. Okay? All right. SM says, from the solstice, I am feeling so different. I feel to slow down and go inside. However, I feel old structures are pulling me back. Can you help with this?
I can completely empathize with that. Absolutely. I'm being brought back to an experience. And I'll tell you what happened was that when I was going through one of the biggest initiations I've ever gone through that training ground that was imposed upon me, I got to a point where my guides and my team was telling me, Riana, you are closing that cycle now. That cycle is about to end. And months went by and I was still in the same cycle. And I got frustrated, and I got frustrated at my guides. I got frustrated at myself, because I thought to myself, am I doing something wrong? Is there something that I'm not doing? Is there something I'm not getting? Is there something that I'm not seeing here? Because if this cycle was supposed to close, why is it not closing? And I started to judge myself. I started to judge what I was doing, what I wasn't doing. I started to judge where I was at. Why am I here? I should have been further. And in that moment of frustration, of being in a state of resistance to what was happening, that stuckness, that stagnation, I realized something. And I realized that the very feeling of stuckness, the very feeling of self-judgment, of self-criticism, of stagnation, of resistance, that was the exact experience that I needed to move past the threshold and get to the completion cycle. Because what it taught me was that I wasn't at a level of spiritual maturity yet in order to complete the cycle. And what I needed to do was to move out of self-judgment, out of self-criticism, and realize that where I'm at right now is serving me. I don't know how, but it is serving me. The frustration served me because it brought me to a point, to a threshold where I finally got the lesson. And I could finally get to a point of spiritual maturity that would allow me to close the cycle. And so my point is that sometimes we feel or we think and we look at our lives and we say, no, but I shouldn't be here. I should have been there already. Why am I still stuck here? I'm still dealing with old stuff. Or we start judging ourselves for things that we didn't do or we can't do or we don't know how to do. And I say to you that even those things are serving you. If you just look deeper into that thing, that emotion that is arising, that self-judgment, that feelings of resistance, of stagnation, of stuckness, and you just begin to observe where you are and ask yourself, is this serving me? Perhaps something is happening in the background that I cannot conceive of or see. Perhaps I'm being asked to trust. Perhaps is a moon cycle that I have not experienced yet that would help me to move past this point in time. It helps you to cultivate a level of trust that where you are is exactly where you need to be. Every part of the journey, no matter how mundane or how simple, is absolutely serving you. So that is one of the core messages that Spirit wants to bring forward, is that when you get out of your own way, in a sense, and you just allow everything as it is to be as it is, appreciate the gift inherent in whatever is happening around you, that will allow you to then move forward and transcend that experience with no expectation, with no judgment. And even if you do have judgment, and even if you do have expectation, even that judgment and that expectation is going to get you to a point where you are going to let that judgment and expectation go. Those are just mirrors amplifying and intensifying, because it wants to release, it wants to let go, it wants to allow you to see things from a higher, grander perspective, that everything is ultimately serving you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
It does, and it's so beautiful as we feel into that. And I'm thinking about situations not only in the world, and this is where our reality is 3 feet in front of us. That's our reality. Let's not give too much into
Mm-hmm.
global affairs, although our vibration 3 feet in front of us as our reality helps with the larger collective. That's why it's so important to be in the heart and to do this inner work where we are immaculately responsible for our vibration. So thank you for that. It is very comforting. And I'm looking at, part of, here's my ego mind. My ego mind says that's just a cop out, because here you've got, okay, something, it's 3 feet outside of me, but I find it frustrating. Like the way that in one situation, there's the way that the environment is being treated. Okay, I'm all in my head there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right next to a
Yeah.
place that I really love, and so I'm sad about the way that the environment looks ugly now. But what you've just done
Yeah.
is applied
Yeah.
your words of wisdom, your heart wisdom to this story. Is that, wow, just to stop projecting. I don't know. You see, can you help me with that? Because I'm in my head. My heart says it's all going to be fine. Hold your vibration. Treat other humans from this vibration, as you've mentioned. We are existence with all of it. So maybe there is no right or wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe we can just
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the beauty, appreciate in between, the beauty in between. Gosh, I know I'm not articulating this right, but I'm feeling at peace with this.
I completely, yeah. Yes, I completely understand what you mean. And in response to that, um, it's like, I'm going to refer to my recent experience once again. I was shown, I'm going to be very, very open and just frank here. I was shown the period of time where the matrix was created, right? So the it was actually a 5D, fifth dimensional Earth was created, and we were incarnated here, and obviously other beings came in and they imposed a limited structure, or sort of hacked the system in a sense. They imposed a limited structure over that 5D Earth, and allowed that Earth to be a third density frequency. So you could only perceive up until the third density. You couldn't see past that. And then a lot of the beliefs that were imposed upon us sort of kept us in frequencies that would only allow us to see things from that perspective, from that limited perspective. But as we, as star beings, as light workers, as angelic beings, as we started to come in, and we have chosen absolutely to come and have this experience, and from a higher perspective, we knew that we were coming to have an experience from I would say a much lower perspective. We knew that we were coming here to infiltrate the system. We knew that we were coming here to bring our light, our higher states of consciousness. We were coming here to remember who we are, and then pour our energy into the earth so that the consciousness of earth could evolve and change and shift. And yes, that is what we are doing from this perspective. But from a higher perspective, from the highest, grandest, greatest perspective, we came here out of our own desire to experience this entire experience as it is now. And it really truly is just a projection of our inner world. And so sometimes we go out and we try to resolve the conflict within the world as a whole. But really what we can be doing is resolving the conflict within ourselves, because that will naturally and automatically shift the world, or the humanity's conflict, or vibration in terms of conflict as a whole. And we are already doing this. The earth, the world that we desire to create already exists. And we are slowly moving our consciousness to be able to experience that earth. I was also shown that when we are in the third density, for example, or the fourth density, we can only see things within the earth that were placed there or within that frequency range. But as our consciousness begins to shift, fourth, fifth density onwards, as we begin to expand our horizons, we will begin to see weird things within the earth that are not of the third dimensional earth. It is of the five dimensional earth. And we'll begin to see weird things and have weird experiences. And that is just all part of the vastness that we are of which we are stepping into. That there is so much more that is awaiting us. And it truly, truly is already there. And when we look into the world and we look out and we see all of these things that we might deem as negative or bad, we just come back to the awareness and the realization that yes, if we can do something about it, go ahead and do something about it. But the most important thing that we can do to shift and change the world and the earth is to focus on ourselves. That vibration, your consciousness, collectively, that people, that starseeds, that light workers, all that have come here for that specific purpose. If we do this together, we will live to create and embody and encompass a world that we truly, truly desire. It is absolutely within the timeline. And so we just let go of the limited perspective that we are so used to, let go of the limited perspective and coming back into the heart space, and almost learn to see that both sides of the coin, both dark and light, makes up the whole. And sometimes going into the dark side feels really bad or feels really uncomfortable to face. But the more that you allow yourself to be aware of that part, eventually it won't feel so bad anymore. Eventually you won't feel that uncomfortable anymore. It will start to almost feel like, oh, okay, that's just an experience. Okay, that's just what it is. And we move forward from that, and it no longer takes on a more so-called negative aspect in our consciousness or in our perspective or in our viewpoint. I hope that makes sense. A lot of the words were there's a lot of energy moving through. And so when that usually happens, my words gets mumbled over. There are a lot of words that wanting to come through at the same time.
Yes, and absolutely, we can feel the shift in our vibration as you speak those words. You know, it makes perfect sense, and why it's so important to really pay attention to the frustrations and the things that irritate us. And that is the inner journey, the inner work that we do. And it does shift. I've been in a situation regarding this topic, the situation that I was speaking of, and it was with other people, and we could feed each other. We could get each other riled up with the angst if we let it. But
Mm.
I was very aware
Mm-hmm.
when the conversation was headed that direction, and I stayed in the heart and I stayed in a vibration, and I witnessed a shift. One person even got up from the table, took a step away, took a few breaths, and then by the time he came back to the table, his whole attitude was shifted. So I have seen that
Mm.
action. And this comes back to
Wow.
sovereignty, our sovereignty. And as we do this more and more, and we see how it affects others, then we are going to be masters at it. And it takes a little bravery to go in there because, again, it's so easy to
Mm.
point fingers and blame, right? To point fingers and say,
Yeah.
they're destroying the environment. This is not right. How can they do that? But
Yeah.
when we turn it on ourselves and we agree within ourselves to be that higher vibration in the face of everything, to be in the heart in the face of everything, that means when we go to communicate to the person who is disturbing the environment and harming the environment, we're able to speak to them in a way that hopefully helps them get in their heart in a way as well. And so you had mentioned the word trust. We have to trust that that vibration
Mm-hmm.
is working, and not to expect to see results, but it's our vibration that will shift it. And it may take a little bit of time for us to see that, but that's the importance here. So it makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for that. So,
Absolutely. And it's just a oops, sorry.
oh no, go keep going. Go ahead.
Oh, sometimes it's just a perspective away. Like if you were to just think of how we were limited in our perspective through maybe mind control, through maybe beliefs imposed upon us up until this point. And sometimes if we just allow ourselves to take a step back, as you said, and just try and view things from a higher viewpoint, that alone can shift our consciousness in an instant, just taking a different perspective, and
Yeah.
perhaps not externalizing so much, but bringing that inward and asking myself, okay, so where's the conflict within me? Where am I still holding on to that anger or that frustration or that thing that my partner or that my neighbor that has triggered within me? It's
Mm.
always that's part of the journey of self mastery, bringing it back to the self, not blaming the self, but taking back your power through taking steps in becoming very, very self aware of your thoughts, of your beliefs, and what is being triggered within you, where you are still holding on to anger, fear, resistance. Really dive into that, make a commitment into diving into those parts of yourself. There, beloved, there is the gold inherent. The gold is there in the shadow, in that thing that you are avoiding. That is where the gold lies. There where the fear is, go there. I will tell you, go there. You will not be sorry. You will come back. You will come back out feeling liberated, more stronger, more powerful, more embodied, more in alignment, because you have now seen the greater. You have seen everything for what it truly is, and you'll come back to your heart space and allow yourself to recognize the truth of who you are, that God embodied through form, in physical. They're showing me that when you wake up from this dream and you experience yourself as existence, as source God, you will realize, oops, okay, that was just a dream. This is who I am. this is actually who I am. This is the vastness and the magnitude of who I truly am. That was just a dream. It might have felt very long, but it's just a dream. It's just an experience that I chose to be a part of so that I could ultimately walk and remember who I am, have that experience in the physical as myself, as my higher self, walking the path at my highest potential and really experiencing myself as I truly am. And so it's all about perspective. A lot of it is about perspective and being self aware enough to shift your perspective and shift that perception, that old ways of thinking and seeing things, and really just widening that up and perhaps just taking a grander viewpoint of everything around you. And that can create shifts so quickly and so easily when we really just come back and take a moment and observe and become self-aware and take a higher perspective and just get to the root of mastering yourself, because you truly are, all of you truly are masters, just remembering your power, just remembering that unconditional frequency and love that you are, that peace, that joy, that magnificent, um, pure frequency of love that you are.
Yes. Yes, that is an activation right there. Thank you. And I want to just share that, we can look out at situations where we can blame others. And so this is the key, is not to blame others, but to be fully responsible for those feelings. And like you said, dive deep within to follow the fear or that emotion, that negative emotion. And from the higher perspective, I want to share the flip side to this as well. And you mentioned it. You mentioned it with self judgment. You had that. That was huge. You said you judged yourself. And I can see
Mm-hmm.
that too. I can see where a situation a situation came to me, but it was a situation that caused me to look at how I judge myself, how I'm super critical
Mm-hmm.
of myself. And again, the ego mind would shred this apart and say, "You're totally wrong. Society thinks it's wrong. What are you doing?" But then the heart, the anchored in the heart, um, I knew it was right, and I know it's right. This is integrity of the Sacred Heart. But it also showed me where my ego mind was coming in and judging me and saying, "You're too old." Right. And this happens to all of us. We can be very critical of
Yeah.
ourselves. And so this is very
Absolutely.
helpful. The higher perspective in everything, even self judgment,
Yes.
and this immaculate awareness, being aware of when we are judging ourselves, that's really key. Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
this is
Absolutely.
our journey of awareness. So thank you everyone for being bold and courageous to really look deep within yourself. Okay, here is another question. And this might be something very good that a practice that we can help, that you can take us on a journey. Linda asks, is there a practice that can help us strengthen and broaden the amount of light and vibration that we emanate and are able to hold more higher energy? She says, while I'm at work, I feel it's a struggle, but I do my best to work with it.
Well, the first thing I would ask Linda, I don't know if she will reply or not, but the first thing I would actually ask Linda is, um, what makes her feel or think that she is not embodying that light or not emanating that light? Is it a
Ah.
thought that comes to mind? Is it a feeling of depression, of anxiety? What is it specific to her that makes her feel that she's not emanating enough light or she's not embodying enough light? Is it just a feeling of sadness? I would really dive deep into that specific to her, and really get to what that emotion is. What is the thought behind that? How did you come to that conclusion? Because from my perspective, dear Linda, you are absolutely emanating the vast amount of light. You are also embodying a lot of light. And in fact, on the outer skirts of your auric field, I can see so many, it looks like light codes that are still wanting to come in. And so in the process, as you in your individual process, Linda, you are in the process of obviously releasing and healing. But as you are releasing and you're creating more space within your field, that light codes are just there on the outskirts of the aura, waiting to come in. So there's always light coming in to you. But I would dive into, in that moment, what is the thought or emotion or thing or trigger that I'm experiencing now that is making me believe that I am not embodying or emanating light. And then once you get to that point, then I would usually do a practice. And for example, just a visualization, I would extend my light outward. So if you were to imagine extending your light out into the entire multiverse, as if a sun is opening up and emanating its rays out, that could help. You could also just imagine more light coming in as a quick visualization every day. I don't like to do a lot of processes. I'm not a person that does like to do a lot of processes at all. I like things quick and easy. And so in my mind, I would say, become my higher self now, or become the light, or become source, God, or whatever. I would command it. I would intend it. And in that moment, I would just trust that I have done what I've intended, or what I've commanded. And that also forms part of self-mastery, really taking control of your own self in terms of what your intention is for yourself, and realizing that you don't have to do things the long way. You can literally in a moment intend and say, connecting to my higher self now, and feel how it feels to be in alignment. Feel that love starting to emanate from your heart space. You will literally feel you getting out of the mind. Sometimes it can be music that gets you into a soft, relaxed, peaceful state. It can be different for everyone, but to allow yourself to receive more light and to emanate more light is an easy practice to just intend, command, or visualize. That's my suggestion. But before that, I would definitely first dive into the emotion and the thought and the belief that is coming up for you that allows you to believe that you are not emanating enough light or embodying enough light.
Thank you. Perfect. And that was an activation for all of us. I can feel that. And I feel really fortified from that. I do. And I think that everyone here, I feel that everyone is like really radiant with light right now. Radiant. I see sparkles of shiny hearts everywhere.
Mm,
Thank
absolutely beautiful.
And so, just to go back to Linda's comment, yes, and it's probably having to do with her work. She says, while at work, I feel it's a struggle. So, that is a thread to
Mm,
follow. And wow,
yeah,
thank you. Thank
yeah.
you, Linda. Yes, very powerful. Well, I know that you don't like processes too long. So this is a perfect time for, it would be beautiful if you wanted to bring forward the Seraphim Collective or, um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I would, yeah, I don't like to prepare processes anymore, because I find that everything that is needed for the listeners on the call will come up in the present moment. So I will just go with it, whether it is a silent energetic transmission, whether it is a verbal transmission, whether it is toning, whether it is whatever it is. We're just going to allow that to come through, and allow us to be completely receptive, because we are all here, not just those on the call, but those in the past, present, future, multidimensionally. All of us are here to receive something, whether you are consciously aware of that or not. There is something that you have or will receive in today's transmission, in today's call. And so we're just going to allow and let go and see where our highest selves and the mighty beings of light wants to take us through this journey.
So beautiful.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, thank you so much, Rihanna.
All right. So I just want us to take a moment now and just bring our perspective and our awareness into the heart space. And so if you can just imagine a door within the heart opening up and you stepping over the threshold into that sacred space. Just a visualization. And sometimes it might just be a feeling or an intention or a knowing. And I'm going to invoke the presence of your higher selves to step forward now, to really step forward. And I'm going to ask your higher selves to step into you now, allowing you to be the embodiment of your highest selves now in this present moment. Allowing your heart to expand even more. And taking a moment now just to feel into perhaps a moment or memory of bliss, of peace that might come to mind. Perhaps the image of walking on the beach with a loved one. Perhaps just the smile of your daughter or your son. Perhaps just the rays of the sun setting or rising, or just the stars in the sky. Whatever that thing is that gives you a feeling of absolute peace and joy and completely just allows your heart to smile. And allow yourself now to take a deep breath in. And as you are inhaling just pure light, pure, vast, grand, highest frequency of light. Every breath that you take is absolute pure light. I'm invoking now the presence of the mighty Seraphim, the highest beings of love, light, power, and service, invoking a legion of angels to step forward, and an angel for each of you today. I'm also inviting the presence of the Arcturian Council of Light, who have brought this beautiful program into existence and allowed this wonderful advanced technology to be received by all of you. I'm invoking the presence of the best and highest ascended master teachers now to step forward and surround us in their light, in the glorious light. Now, just for a moment, allowing ourselves to feel into their presence, them mirroring to you the truth of your own soul, just reflecting back to you your power, just reflecting back to you your eternal nature, your sacredness. They want you to know, beloved, that you, because you will always exist. You are absolutely significant. You are absolutely of a value. You are value. You play an integral part in the entire picture of everything. You are that. You are love. You are existence. You are creation itself. It is time to claim the truth of who you are. No more playing small. No more limiting ourselves to small notions of who we thought we could be, we must be. Going beyond all of that, for you, beloved, are creator embodied in form. Claiming that truth now through intention, and claiming it through word, thought, and deed every single day going forward now. For we know now, beloved, that we only exist in eternity. We have always been and we will always be. Bringing your awareness now, beloved, back into the heart, into the chest, into the heart, the inner sanctum, into that sacred cave where there's no movement, just stillness and light, your light, which shines so brightly. And this light within your heart gently lifts up and off of a beautiful lotus flower within the heart space. This lotus flower that exists within your heart, as the light lifts up off of the lotus flower and rises up through your chest towards your third eye. And as the light meets the third eye, it begins to split into two flames. The one flame into the right eye and the other flame into the left eye, clearing now the organs of the mind so that you can truly see the perfection and the beauty in everything. This flame, this light within both eyes, it splits again into two. And it goes into the right ear and the left ear. And it's clearing any hearing, any distortions within the ears, within the clairaudience channels. This light now begins to move deeper into the rest of the body, slowly encompassing all of your cells, flowing through the bloodstream, through all the organs, the cells, the DNA, the skin, the bones, allowing this light to recalibrate and restore and refine every part of you, not just on the physical, but the emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies on a multidimensional level as well. Just taking another deep breath here. Allowing yourself to receive even more light now, beloved. And just bringing your attention to the left side of your body. Allowing the feminine or the divine mother to awaken within you. The expression of the feminine. Bringing your awareness now as well to the right side of the body. Allowing her to awaken the expression of the divine masculine within you as well. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. As the light begins to float back into the sanctum or the sacred heart space now and accesses the lotus in utter stillness, you begin to sense the merging of both masculine and feminine. Taking a moment now to just relax the body completely. For this, this is allowing the healing of a lot of, I would say, wounding or trauma with parents and within the childhood, within your individual childhood growing up. And it's restoring it now back to the frequency of unconditional love. Now we're going to move towards a particular issue. As we begin to open up to more of our luminous light. And the one thing that is coming up now is pain. Not just physical pain, but emotional pain and mental pain. The light, beloved, of who you are is much stronger than the perception of dis-ease. And we're going to clear the digestive system now for any confusion, any conflicts, allowing that to dissipate and filling that with light now. It looks like beautiful light codes. It looks like snowflakes beginning to fall within your field, within your aura, within your body. And these are beautiful, soft light codes that are just merging with you, restoring and resetting any parts of your body now under the direction of your higher self. allowing you to continue to open to the light, attuning yourself to that which you truly are, shifting your consciousness to see the vastness of who you are, and that where you are now serves you, that where you are now is exactly where you need to be. And everything changes. Even the circumstances that you are experiencing now will change. It is temporary, it is transient, it is passing. Feeling now into the sacredness of your heart, beloved, knowing that you are able to hold any emotion and cradle it with love. Any stagnation I'm seeing within the liver and within the solar plexus area, whether it is an emotion, whether it is just a stagnation of energy flow, we're allowing that, we're clearing that up now. And any organ within that area as well that is sort of feels dense or feels stagnant or stuck or not flowing properly, allowing the light to dissolve this now. There we go. Oh, beautiful. I'm seeing this. It looks like sheets of density being lifted up and out. Sheets of them. Oh, that's beautiful. Moving now, beloved, into a very deep stillness. Into a very, very deep stillness as I bring through some light toning to integrate all that we've done today. Taking a beautiful deep breath in, noticing the perfection in everything, in yourself, in life itself, in every breath that you take, in every step forward, in everything that you have in your life that we might sometimes overlook. The relationships we appreciate and adore, the experiences with others, conversations, people we encounter, life itself really just wants to awaken you to your power. It really just wants to awaken you to the love that you are. Claim it, see it, perceive it. Perceive that higher truth now. Not just now, but every moment from here on forward. Acknowledging just how far you've come, how much you've endured, how much you've carried. Acknowledging just how absolutely magnificent you truly are, beloved. And we say to you, it is done, it is done, it is done. May you go in peace. We bless you, we love you, and we honor you. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are the sparkling lights of Source. We are experiencing ourselves as Source, Light, God, all existence. And Riana, the tone of the Seraphim, wow. I feel like we are surrounded by the Seraphim. That was so beautiful. Your voice is so
Mhm.
angelic. Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank all of you. Such a beautiful container of love. Oh, it just brings us all back home, back into union with self. Absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful. And we are shifted from this. We are fortified and we are radiant. And so we go into our world, into our realities from this higher perspective, from this vibration, and we trust that at any moment we can amplify it where needed. We are that powerful.
Hmm.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, a question from our audience. Arietta. Hello, Arietta. Arietta says, since I remember myself, I live mostly in my heart. But recently, I feel that other people reside in my heart. I feel their emotions and more. What can I do to protect my heart from, this says inventors, but perhaps she means intruders?
Okay. That is a wonderful question. Um, I'm gonna just tune into her. I'm gonna tune into her specifically. I feel this is more of an individual thing. I think I'm gonna tune into her just for a moment.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. What I'm hearing from her higher self is that it's almost as if her, a lot of people are saying lately that feels like their body is breaking down, like the everybody, like the physical body, the emotional body, the mental mind, everything feels like it's just breaking down completely. Like it feels like it's getting worse and not better. And so her higher self is almost saying that what is happening within a heart space, it's almost like a heart is breaking open in order to rebuild itself anew. It feels like a rebirth of sorts. And so it almost feels like she's going through an initiation herself. She's in a transition point where her actual heart is literally transforming to a much, much, much higher level of consciousness. And so as she's going through the process, it's going to feel as if she's taking on other people's stuff or emotions. And she might actually be feeling other people's emotions because her heart feels very, very sensitive right now as the heart is breaking and then transforming or building itself up back again. I would say for her, as she's moving through this period of time, I only see a few weeks for her as she's moving through the next few weeks. I would put a golden net, so visualizing a golden net, just placing that golden net around her, and this will almost keep her space pristine. It will not allow any external energies to almost invade her space, especially now that the heart is so wide open. She will eventually, over the next few weeks, complete the cycle or this phase, and the heart will begin to almost emerge as a brand new heart. It feels like a rebooting as you go through this period of time. It's like your heart is being switched off or removed and being rebooted and then put it back, being placed back within the in the chest area. And so maybe just 2 or 3 weeks, and then you shouldn't feel that sensitivity in terms of other people's emotions anymore. But it is a transition period that she's undergoing at the moment in terms of the heart for her.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Rihanna. I know that's helpful for her. Okay. And it's indicative of what we're all going through. So, Arietta, you are not alone, but you are illustrating and expressing what many of us are going through as well. So, Rihanna, thank you. You have just given us a great example, a very short example of what it's like with a personal session for you. So this is a beautiful
Mhm.
time to talk about ways that people can work with you. You've got a variety of options, and on our webpage here, I'm going to put this in our chat. There's a couple of offers. One is the Azura codes, and then there's a Seraphim order offer, and that's got a couple of options of a personal session and some other ways that people can work deeply with this. Can you share for us what is
Yeah,
involved in these offers?
absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to just give maybe a comparison between the two. So you can maybe just feel into your heart space what you are more guided towards. So the Seraphim Order program is more like being mentored very intimately by the mighty Seraphim. And the Seraphim are the direct feminine emanation of God's source. They are that feminine essence of God. And they have birthed and created many, many species and worlds and universes. And so they sort of stepping forward to really mentor you and help you accelerate your journey towards inner union. There's a lot of initiation codes within that program that will that focuses on every part of the journey: abundance, limiting subconscious beliefs, physical disease, aligning yourself to the frequency of the seraphim. There's a light language audio. You get, I think, one of my book called You Are the Creator, and a lot of other bonuses in there as well. But the Azora Code program, that is more recent. That is mainly focused on healing and self mastery. So that's two parts. You get the 4 audios, which consists of 12 Azora codes. The Azora codes were given to me by the Octorian Council of Light when I had gone through my near-death experience, and they basically gave me these codes. It's like templates, diagnostic advanced technology templates that they placed within my field, and they showed me actually how these codes and sacred geometric shapes heals certain illnesses and emotions and traumas and blockages within the different chakras. And so that is the 12 Azora codes. You can listen to that, as many times as you want. I would recommend 1 audio per day. So if you listen to audio 1, wait 24 hours before you listen to audio 2. And then with the Azora Code program comes the 4, is it 4? Yeah, 4 it's mastery classes that I did. It's pre-recorded for self-mastery classes that I did, and this focuses purely on self-mastery, on the self-love initiation, balancing the divine masculine and divine feminine. Move into the third teaching, moving from victimhood to conscious creator, and then the fourth one is the initiation of self-mastery, where we receive processes and codes and healing and tools from the Octorian Council of Light as well during those 4 transmissions or 4 calls. With that, you can also, I think it's package B with the Azora Code program, you can be placed in the chamber of healing for 21 days. This is really, really powerful because it's like you are cocooned for 21 days within a miracle chamber. And every 72 hours, they create a different miracle chamber for you based on a certain ray frequency or a certain color frequency, and you receive all of the qualities and all of the healing properties of that frequency downloaded to you. So it's 21 days of deep integration placed in the chamber of healing. This is remotely. This is done the first Monday after. It starts the first Monday after you've purchased that program. And obviously, if you want to work deeper with me on a one-on-one basis, I think package C in the Azora Code program is adds on a 30-minute personal session with me. Here we can cover almost anything. So here I give guidance or channeled guidance, healing processes. We do everything. And I would usually ask you, what are the top 2 or 3 things that is sort of keeping you stagnant or stuck. And we really focus on that core issues, that core wounds that you've never been able to heal up until now. And we really dive deep into that and really get that going. And what I find is in both programs, whether you work with the Seraphim Order program or the Azora Code program, when you work with me during a one-on-one session, most of the time you usually come to me with a specific issue, but what you get back from that session is so much more, so much more. It is like a complete um, um, overhaul of your life. You come in wanting to heal one specific thing, but what you get is a complete overhaul of your path, an acceleration of your path, guidance, insight into your future, into your timeline, your purpose, sometimes your soul's origin. It can really go anywhere in terms of what a higher self wants to bring forward for you during that 30-minute session. I believe the Seraphim Order program has many different options available. If there is a mentorship 6-week program in the Seraphim Order program offer. That is where we do 6 calls with me, and we're about to finish the lives actually. So those will be pre-recorded audios as well for the mentorship Seraphim Order program. There's really a lot within both programs. So I would really ask yourself, what is your intention for yourself? Are you wanting to perhaps work even more closely, more deeper with the highest order of angels in terms of your path acceleration? Or are you focused more on your individual self-mastery and healing your blockages, densities, limitations within yourself? Either one or both would really assist in terms of any part of the path that you are currently on.
Yes, thank you. I do have to share that I've done the mentor program, and it is so beautiful and exquisite. And I want everyone to experience this. If it feels right in your heart, then check it out. Go and see the options. Affordable in any way that you can partake in it. There's a 2-payment plan. It is, I'll say the word again, exquisite. Like the toning of the Seraphim angels, that was so beautiful. And we are just lifted and elevated by this experience. So it is a beautiful way for people to work with you. And you're such a beautiful guide. Thank you, Riana. You support so many light workers, and we are grateful for that. And you do it from your own journey and your own experience. And that is what makes you a great guide.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much. And thank you for all that you do as well. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to get this work out to those that truly are calling for it, because truly we are all masters. We are all gods and goddesses, and really just remembering who we are. And I just want everyone to know absolutely how powerful they are. The journey is truly a magnificent one. It might not always feel that way, but I promise you, when you commit to doing the work and you commit to yourself and really unraveling all of those parts of you that are keeping you uncomfortable or stuck or stagnant, you will really find the gold inherent within yourself, and you will realize the magnitude of who you are. And that is my purpose here. My purpose is for me to show you your power, show you your potential, show you that God and Goddess that you are. And I'm always overjoyed to be able to do that and be the facilitator and the vessel to bring that forward for all of you. So thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Again, your link to both of those special offers are on this webpage, and we invite everyone to check it out. Feel from your heart and see if this resonates with you. There is gold within you, and Riana helps you find it. And we can be this experience of ourselves as source, light, God. We can realize ourself as God in form. That is powerful. And as we say goodbye today, that's what we leave everyone with, this experience yourself as source God. Riana, anything else you'd like to say as we close?
There's nothing verbal to say, actually. When you asked me that question, I felt a light shooting from my heart to all of yours. And so I just want to send all of the love and all of the blessings your way. Truly, truly, truly receive this. This is coming for you, it is from you. And so just allow yourself to receive this love. Allow yourself to shift those perceptions, perspectives, shift that way of viewing everything, and know that you are held and you are loved and you are absolutely where you need to be in this very moment and every moment from here on forward. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Riana. Riana Arendse here with the Seraphim Collective, and we remind all of those watching and listening to receive the love. This is your love. Thank you, Riana, and thank you, everyone, for this beautiful experience today and for sharing your bright light with the world. Namaste. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Lorraine Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.